L-O-I-M. Cinnamon. Semen. Sicisiums.
Sicisiums. Are we ready to go? I'm excited. Thank you for joining us in the vault with the Kate Broddick team. I am Kate Broddick, and we are here today to talk about community, a little bit of personal and real estate successes with my friend and colleague, Simeon Papailias, with the Toronto Real Estate Board,
You bet.
serving the Greater Toronto Area.
The Greater Toronto Area.
That's right, because that's a big span.
In all its glory.
And all its glory. And actually, just before we started, we were talking about, and I want to continue talking about this mission that you did in Ecuador to raise funds for the women's shelter.
You bet.
And also, I would say that what I've known Simeon for has been his strength in the real estate business, but also the advocacy for community. And I think the two go hand in hand.
They
and
do.
that is really why I wanted to have you here today, because in a market that we had in 2023 coming into 2024, and we talked about on the Brokers Playbook, what we did last year is truly setting us up for this year. And I think that new and experienced agents could really learn from your mentality and perspective of how to not just run a successful real estate business, but one that's everlasting.
Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me in the
Yes,
vault.
in the vault.
This is a very cool space. For those who don't know, we are in a vault. It's not just the vault.
Yes.
It's a very cool space. Thank you for having me. And it is a privilege to give advice. It's not something that everybody should do. It's if you're going to give advice, you need to be responsible for the advice you give. And I do feel 2023 we did give a lot of advice, and I hope that the ears that it fell on took some of the actions that we mentioned. I know we dropped some tremendous insight on the episode we did together when I hosted you in Toronto. It's actually one of my favorite episodes of the year.
Oh, I love that.
And going into 2024, I definitely have some ideas of what I want to cover today, because we're already seeing a shift again. Yet again, a shift, a positive one this time. But everything we did in 2023 and how we act right now is going to be the determining factor of how that shift affects us personally.
Yes, and our communities.
You bet.
And I think before we get started, because I've been a huge, what you call raving fan of yours, because what I love about you, Simeon, is you are not just eloquent when you speak, but you really believe the words that you're saying. And it's not just believing yourself, it's actually action-oriented belief. It's tried and tested.
And data-driven, that's right.
Yes. And that's the biggest thing, is we're not looking at, fluffy catchwords that are coming out. You have built a business. You have demonstrated it yourself. You've seen the results. You've had trial and error, as I'm sure any successful realtor has had. And then you also bring that education to the conferences. You want people to succeed. And I think that that is such an important part of today's podcast, and giving what you believe agents need to do to catapult their careers and communities forward in 2024. So before we get started, a little bit about yourself, where you started, how long you've been in this business. You've got a lot on the go with the Brokers Playbook. Rec.
You bet.
Your agents. How many agents?
Just about 50.
Just about 50. That's it.
So, well, we were at 60, so we just cleaned house a bit.
Yeah,
so.
that's okay though. You know what?
Sure
Sometimes
is.
you need to purge.
You have to, and that's maybe a big part of what we'll talk about today.
Perfect. Well, tell us a little bit about you.
I've been in the business for 18 years. Right now, 06 is when I was selling businesses without a license. From 05 to 06. And then because I had to sell a building with a business, I was forced to get my license. Because you can sell businesses specifically in Alberta without a license.
Yep.
And we were there. That's where my parents immigrated to. We were in the restaurant business. And once this crazy thing, the internet thing came around, I found a very easy space to leverage for a result. I sold one of our restaurants without paying an agent.
Yeah.
And not because my parents had an issue paying agents, because one of their best friends was their agent their whole life, but because he didn't know restaurants and he didn't have clients for a restaurant, specifically mom and pop, Greek restaurant.
Yes.
Think Brantford, think like every restaurant typically is Greek owned.
Yeah.
When you leave the city.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is because it's a lifelong decision of making a living. It's not really a business. You're buying a job. Yeah. These people didn't have skills when they came here to do anything else but cook and work.
Yep.
Or work at the factory and come home and work and do it all over again. So they were just dedicated to hard work. Obviously I went to school. I studied business and accounting, and I came back to the Papa camp. And I said, listen, like, let's sell this one. Let's take the money from this one, buy a building over here. Like, let's do some things that might change the fortune and trajectory of our family legacy. Sure enough, I put up the restaurant for sale, like, within 7 days. Here's a buyer. The internet was new. The internet was popular, and there were still not a lot of websites.
Yes.
So, like, the where people were going was to very few places.
That's right.
So once I sold our restaurant, all my dad's buddies, all the Greeks within a 100-kilometer
That's
radius.
right, because they stick together as they should.
So Red Deer, Alberta is where I'm referring to. So like within Red Deer, there's all these communities between Edmonton and Calgary. And out of, let's call it 50 community restaurants, 47 were owned by the same people, like the guy who, my godfather, the cousin, all the things. So I started selling restaurants. And the commission that I charged, of course, was what it was. So I saw very fast and clearly the kind of money that can be made by simply marketing the right product the right way to the right audience. Came back to Toronto because I studied here, came back to Toronto, went back to my job, which was in financial services. It was a kind of collections. I was running the small business portfolio for Amex and CIBC third party. So restructuring small business debt.
Yeah.
Not quite like default debt, right before.
Yeah.
And again, in that business, I was very good at it because I always liked the financial component and the business component. And I'm speaking to business owners all day. And very quickly, I realized the only people that own businesses that can actually save themselves from themselves and whatever happened to them were the ones that owned real estate.
Yeah.
So they could use their physical assets to restructure bad debt, good debt, high debt, low debt, all the things. Everything was centered around real estate. If you don't have real estate, well, you're going to go down this path, not so nice. It's going to be painful.
Leverage.
But whoever had real estate, a building, I was able to put them in touch with a restructure mechanism, the people who can help, and all of a sudden they were thriving again. Out of my queue they came, back into the A side they go. The ones that didn't, the ones that didn't ended up either in some kind of receivership and or B or C lending, a very different fortune. It's one thing to pay 3% on debt. It's one thing to pay 24%.
Yes.
So for better or for worse, I was learning life lessons, and that led me straight into commercial real estate. And so I've always been a commercial broker. I've touched residential in the biggest of ways because I generated a team right away and I had to learn and how to be a proper residential real estate agent. But that's not my passion. It was never my passion. So I built a very amazing residential team.
Yes.
And I stuck to my lane, which was commercial real estate, and built that out.
And what about new construction as well?
So that was the very beginning of my career. Within 2 years, I met a tremendous group of people. My current business partner included, Jazz Takar.
Yes.
He is also a force to be reckoned with as far as content creation and advocating for both the industry and us.
Very eloquent speaker.
He's
very knowledgeable.
I am probably, well, for sure, I'm not going to say his biggest fan. He has children and a mother. But,
close to.
I'm pretty close to his biggest fan. We've been partners for 16 years.
Wow.
And we'll be partners forever as long as we're healthy and good. We have a tremendous amount of trust and respect for each other and our abilities. I've never had to question a single day of my life. Where is he? What is he doing, etc. Because the only thing he does is work hard, makes us a tremendous amount of money while setting a great example for our agents.
I love that.
And I obviously feel I do the same, meaning that there's not a chance that I would ever leave for him to wonder where I am and what I'm doing.
Exactly.
Because that's the respect that we have for each other. So when we did that, that's kind of where our trajectory really changed quickly, because we were able to kind of divide and conquer different components of the business, and that gave us a big advantage over other teams that, the rainmaker has to do everything.
That's right. You're splitting the duties down, and you both have equal investment in each other and in your business.
And we're both closers first, meaning like nobody's scared to make phone calls, nobody's scared to take a client out. So it's not like he took an administration perspective or this. Like, I took on business development at the highest level. He took on our core business because we have a team, but like, we do deals.
Yes, of course.
Our team does deals, or different splits, what have you. But like, I took on team administration, managing, training our team, business development for us, new construction, business development, which turned to be a massive vertical. But he took on the closing thereof.
Yes.
So it's one thing to bring the business in; it's a whole other thing to close it.
That's right.
So there is we split it. It worked, and we've made hundreds and hundreds of transactions and hundreds of millions in real estate sold.
And that's amazing. And it's, what I love about you, Simeon, is the love, admiration, and respect you give to the people that you genuinely deserve it. And you're very outwardly about that. And I think that that's a wonderful thing, because a lot of people, they like to stand in the limelight and they don't want to shine it on the people around them. And for you to sit here and speak, and you've always spoken that way. I mean, even at conferences, Kathleen Black, you've always given props and equal success to your business partner,
because it's true.
And that's how it should be as well, right? Yeah. And I'm sure he does the same for you. And I mean, the Toronto real estate market, obviously a little different than Norfolk County and Brantford, but I still believe the same principles apply in any market, because it's about inherently the skills and the motivation and the mindset of the agents who are running their own shows. So what I'd love to talk to you about, because what I love your perspective is get shit done, take accountability. You are the one that has to make this work, not taking on the mindset of, oh my God, this market sucks. Oh my God, nothing's working. What would you say agents need in 2024? So
it's hard, because the truth of the matter is all you have to do is work. And I know that's a blanket statement, but if you just wake up in the morning knowing that it's not 9:30 or 10 o'clock, but it's 7, at the very latest 7, you need to get your butt out of that bed.
Yes.
You need to get your day going. So by 8 o'clock, you can actually start doing meaningful, intentional activity. 2023 was the hardest working year of my life. I don't feel I deserved it. But I also know that the world's not going to ask me for my opinion as to what's going to happen that year.
Yeah.
I am nothing but an ant in it, trying to make a living. But after 18 years, I didn't feel I deserved, like right now I still feel it, to get punished the way I did in 2023, because I worked 4 times harder than any other year and made at least 40% less than any other year. I'm not talking about at the pinnacle of my record year. I'm talking, I worked from day to night, speaking to people, speaking to my strategic partners, planning, executing event after event after event. People came. It was all great. Everything was perfect. But closings were
across the board.
Not because people don't want to buy, because people can't.
That's right.
And it also doesn't make sense. So when my client looks at me in the eyes and says, well, what do you think? Should I buy this? I have to be not only smart enough, but I have to be human enough to say, no, you specifically cannot buy this right now. Yes, it's a great investment. Yes, it's a perfect opportunity, but you're more than likely not going to sleep a night from now until something changes, which we don't know when will change and how it will change. So there's speculation involved. So the answer is no, you can't buy that. So I threw an event to sell something. My clients came to buy something, and I had to turn them around, say, no, go home. Hopefully next year this time, I'm going to get you into the property you've always wanted. So imagine the mind, I'll just say it for what it is. Imagine the mind fuck of doing all the things, getting the result that you want, and having to turn people around because you're protecting them from ignorance, hope, or optimism. There is a time for realism.
There is. And
Not negativity.
No, it's
but
not.
realism. So protecting your client's interests, unless that stays first,
Yeah.
you're going to be in a very short-lived career.
But you're also, in my opinion, that's what makes you a great agent. And we feel the pinch and the squeeze in 2023. And I agree with you. You build this business. You know your value. You know the work that you've done. You just put out a reel. You work 14-hour days for the last 15 years. You know the work that you've done. But to know that even that isn't going to surmount to the income that you're used to or that you deserve, it's hard because you still need to push forward. But I believe that's going to come back tenfold for you.
So I know that to be true because it's not the
Yeah.
first time this has happened. It was the first time it happened at this level.
Yes.
It's so dramatic,
Yes.
meaning like I've never seen an entire country taken out in a matter of a year and a half.
Yeah.
Like the government policy artificially took out an entire country's steam
Yep.
in a year and a
yeah.
half.
In all sectors.
I've never seen anything like it. So for me, this was a lifetime first, and I'm turning 44 in May. So I had never seen this type of mechanism, this type of economy. I've seen the roller coasters up and down upwards my whole life.
Yeah.
I had never seen a deflation. I have never seen artificial financial tools to bring down a country's economy.
Yeah.
Which had to happen, by
Yeah.
the way. But I had never seen it.
Yeah.
So this was uncharted waters for this shark right here. And it was a lot of lessons. But as I said, we are in a shifting market because I've seen more action across our entire team's listings.
In the last couple weeks.
In the last 10 days, more than the last 60, 90 days combined.
Yeah.
With actual sales happening, et cetera. So we'll talk about that.
And I love that because, I mean, you just said from this shark, you are a shark.
For sure.
You're a closer. You are out there looking for the opportunities. So now imagine the agent who does 5 to 10 deals in a year. Did they have a business last year? What are they going to do now?
So they didn't.
They did not.
Because I
no.
speak to hundreds of them. And that's, so the pain out there is also very real. Not to say that, well, there's a few ways to put this, and I want to put this the best way possible. And it's tough, because some people will be offended. And that is what it is. Because first and foremost, I don't think I'm better than anyone,
No.
but I do know how good I am.
Yes.
So I'm not trying to be pompous, ignorant, or any of the things. But if any agent who does 5 to 10 deals a year was my competition last year, they would have been steamrolled. They would have never even seen me coming.
Yeah.
You don't even exist to me. Because that's the type of confidence that I carry, and the type of confidence that you, any agent, needs to carry to survive when there's 100,000 agents and 60,000 transactions.
Yes, exactly.
Let that sink in.
Wow.
100,000 agents, 60,000 transactions on Treb. So if anybody thinks I'm being ignorant, I apologize because I'm not.
Nope.
If it comes across that way, be it as it may. But if we are, because we are competing, and I believe every day in collaboration over competition,
Yes.
in learning, in being friends, in eating together.
Yeah.
But if I'm walking into a listing presentation, my man, my lady, I'm not walking out without it.
No.
And that is my mandate. That is my life's mission. Not because I want to take it from you, because I want it for me.
Absolutely. And it's not about that, though.
So being very clear as to, because people confuse collaboration over competition. Collaboration is me coming here,
Yes.
telling you exactly what I do, verbatim.
Yep.
Take it, run with it, clean house, compete against me. I don't care, because I will compete against you.
Yes.
There's two different fundamental things there.
There is.
So being open, being a good human, helping somebody. I'm not going to trip you on the way in. I'm going to help you on the way in. But I know I'm going to say things better than you on the way in.
Yeah.
Why? Because that's my confidence.
And you've been doing it for a long time.
And I hope everybody does the same. Like,
Yes.
so my collaboration here is do that.
Yeah.
Like, walk in knowing that you're not walking out without it.
And take the information you're providing and ignite a fire.
Yes.
Don't be, oh, I'm so offended. Be like, you know what? He's right. I've got to work harder. And they've got to work harder than you because you've already mastered it.
So I have worked hard since I started, and I still work 14 to 16 hours a day. So whoever doesn't believe that, you can call the rest of my team, but you can find me online. And again, I don't talk about life-work balance because I don't have that. Like, this is my life.
Yeah.
So my life is encompassing of work, fun, food, drinks, vacations. But I work, vacation, have fun all day.
Yes.
I had fun on the way here. I'm having fun right now. Yeah. So
I'm closing deals on the way back.
100%. So everybody looks at things differently, and I'm happy for anybody to critique it, write bad messages to me. It's okay.
No, it's bad messages.
I'm okay with it.
It's not bad messages.
No, but people are like, oh, you're an animal, or not everybody wants to live like that. I agree.
But that's not for them to decide.
But I agree. Not everybody wants to live like that. But if you want to do 600 deals this year, I got some news for you.
Yeah, you're not doing it working 3 hours a day.
No, you're not doing it. Period.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to take those deals. Because I am doing it. So that's what I'm getting at. So when we look at high performers, like whether it's, and I know hundreds of them, at Remax, at Royal LePage, like my colleagues in the Chairman's Club, I know what they do.
Yeah.
And guess what they do? Exactly what I do. They don't stop. Relentless.
Yes.
So if you want to achieve success from a financial metric, I'm not talking about happiness. I'm not talking about rest.
Fulfillment.
I'm talking straight financial. You want a deal count. Well, the deal count is not going to knock on your door.
No.
It's the other way. You got to barge on that door. So that if anybody's looking on how to do deals, it starts with work hard, and we can talk about any strategy, work plan, because there's a million of them.
There is. And that's the biggest thing right now. I think when we're speaking to the vast majority of agents, I mean, I can tell you the average agent in Brantford does between 3 and 5 deals. And I would say that that's on like a higher end. We have some that do 1-2 deals a year. How are they going to come out of the gates this year? Were they doing the work last year? Were they setting the foundation to build those relationships, to be at top of mind, to be in the community, to throw those events? So that way when the phones start ringing, which they're ringing now, we've had a bang-in first 2 weeks of 2024. Yes. But that's because we were doing the work last year. Those calls didn't happen because we sat around and said, oh, the market sucks. Well, hopefully next year it's better.
And it's not even that. Like when you talk about community and doing it for the right reasons. Last year, if you think we had a tough year, let me tell you somebody on fixed income or that works at Ford, making $80,000 a year. Sounds like a great amount of money. The spouse makes $60,000. Sounds like a great amount of money. The household makes $140,000. Well, if they bought a house in the last 3 years for their brand new, beautiful little family, and that house was 1.2, and their payment was $3,000, and other payment $7,000, let me tell you that family did not have a good time.
No.
They don't have the option of working another 4 hours a day to do one more deal that can potentially save the entire year, like we do.
Yeah.
Not that we're better, you still have to go find it, make it happen, and all the things, and all the money you need to spend to do it. But what I'm getting at is the regular family, the nuclear family last year, the partners with the 2 children, with their little white picket fence, had a much harder year than most of us.
Yes.
And those people had to go to food banks. Those people had to go without a vacation, without a break, without a weekend getaway. They had to pull their kids out of programming. They've had to do a lot of adjustments.
They have.
Where were you in that plan? Where did you show up? Because you sold them that house. Did you show up to see how they're doing?
That's a great question.
Did you go to their neighbor who was 10 times worse because they got laid off and all the other things? a community leader, a realtor, who our livelihood depends on how we're viewed. And the majority of us are viewed worse than car salesmen. Not that there's anything wrong with being a car salesman.
No, but
I'm talking about cliches and generalizations. Al Bundy, shoe salesman.
Yeah.
That's what we're viewed as.
You're right.
Which is why I'm on a mission trying the best that I can to correct that. That's why you're doing the same.
Yeah.
Showing the real side of it.
Yes.
So how many agents do you know that went to support their clients?
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say very, very, very few, almost to the point where you couldn't name them. And that's a tragic thing in a year that we just had. And like you said, look at the price of gas, groceries.
Correct.
And that's just basic living.
So with that being said, I can tell you, because I know a few high achievers that had a contingency fund in place. Imagine that. I never had a contingency fund in place, but I can tell you that we made over 6,000 phone calls through we have an inside sales team that makes calls all day, our concierge division, and our coaching programs for clients, where they go through our database of about 12,000 insiders every single day. About 4 times a year we get through with phone calls. There's about over 60 touch points per year for all of our clients. We'll talk about that next. But at least 4 phone calls where they're saying, hi, is everything okay? No, everything is not okay. I'm drowning. I'm doing this, that, and the other. What do you want to do? Because we can put you in touch with a broker, try to fix some of this by restructuring, taking consumer debt into mortgage debt. I know it's terrible, but it might save you $600 a month at the end.
Yeah.
Just by consolidating. And then maybe in a couple of years when rates come down, you can breathe again. Do we need to sell it in this complete upside down market? Would that help? No. Okay. What can we do? Can we renovate and add a tenant in the basement just for now?
Yeah.
To lighten the load. But we checked in on them.
You showed up for them.
They will never, and we know this because we've done this for a long time. So we do it for the right reason, meaning we do it because we actually do want to do it, because we sold these people real estate and we need to be there for them. But even if we didn't, and we were the most selfish people on earth. So even if you don't have the human heart inside you, freaking pretend. Pretend you care about your clients.
Yeah.
The outcome is the same. Hopefully you do it because you have a heart inside.
And you have good intentions.
And you have good intentions. But even if you are an a-hole, pretend you're a good person. More than likely, you're going to fool them, and you're going to have a good result in the end with a client that felt supported and got somewhere better than without you.
Yeah.
So doing these exercises is what sets us apart in bad markets. So when people say bad markets is an opportunity, it is the ultimate opportunity, because people with organizations, bigger ones that can, like us, will never stop. And we will try to provide value one way or another. And that's the teaching, in my opinion, for the young agent.
It is, but it's also, it's good practice for any business in any market during any time of year. Because that's the whole point of touch points with your clients, is not just to say, hey, can I have a referral? It's, how are you doing?
Yes.
How is your family?
Yes.
How do you like living in your new home? It's just about human connection. And I think that that's what's been lost. I mean, once again, everyone does content creating. We're all on social media. I'm not saying that that's not a part of it, but I think that we've seen since COVID such a effort putting into being online versus being connected in person, on the phone. How many people do you know that text over, pick up the phone to call?
So many.
Or send an email versus picking up the phone to call.
And I hate that, by the way. I personally, maybe it's my age, and I'm not picking on anyone else, but like human connection for me is extremely important, like actual belly to belly.
Yeah.
Not to say that the new way of communicating is less than. For me, it's less than.
Yeah.
I find me seeing you here today is going to do a lot for our relationship.
Of course.
As opposed to us talking on the telephone.
Yeah. Or texting.
Or texting, because I can see you. I can feel your energy. I know if something's wrong.
Yeah.
Versus not knowing something's wrong and you say, no, I'm good. Okay, well, bye.
Yeah. It's easy to do that, right? Or
Yeah,
it's
but-
easy just to text.
But then if I see you and your eyes are bloodshot and you're visibly upset and you're like, I'm okay, I'll be like, okay, listen, we're not doing this podcast. We're going to talk about what's wrong right now. And do you see what I'm saying?
Maybe break out the vodka.
So whatever it takes. So, but that's the whole point. And that's no different than in our actual practice because we are in the people business.
We are in the people business, but people forget about that. People become more self-absorbed in how they look and feel about themselves on social media versus how they look and see others see themselves in person, because it's easy to hide behind a camera or a keyboard.
Yeah.
It is not as easy to show up to someone's door with coffees or a gift card to the grocery store or donations to the food bank or outerwear for Out of the Cold because they can't afford it. That's not the easy route. But now moving into this year, what do you feel is going to happen? What do you think, Simeon?
So we just did our business planning December into the first week of January because we were so busy. But we typically do our business planning end of November into December.
That's what we do too.
This year we're just a little bit late, but I just came out of it, so it's really fresh in my mind. And again, if I beg for anybody to copy this and do it because you will get result. It's just that it involves so much commitment that I will say 90% won't, but for the 1 in 10 that will, you're going to make more money this year than you ever have before. You're going to help more people this year than you ever have before. Your value as a human being is going to increase because you're going to help people. And this is the year that I believe Canadians are going to feel some normalcy. The last 4 years of our lives have not been normal.
No.
Meaning 2019 was a very strong year in Canadian economy, which was then followed by COVID. Mm-hmm. COVID, again, nobody knew what it would do. Nobody knew their head from their ass when March shut down the country.
Yeah.
March 2020. So we go from a very strong economic year into this bullshit called the pandemic.
Yeah.
That took thousands, millions of lives and affected economies, affected everything.
Mental health,
addiction, all the other things. But more importantly, in March and April, we thought like our businesses were over.
Absolutely, we did.
You can't go for a showing. You can't do this. You can't do that. Okay, so
How do we sell real estate?
So what's going to happen?
Yeah.
So after, like in hindsight, it was the best years of real estate of all time, and that's because money was free, amongst many other factors that we can get into, but it's irrelevant. So we go into the absolute golden 2 years of real estate in 2020 and 2021, 2021 being the record-breaking year of real estate in this country. So in rising tides, all ships rise. But when the tide goes out is when Warren Buffett famously said, you see who's swimming naked.
Yeah.
So when we get the rug pulled from under us in February of 2022, and we see 12 or 13 increases straight,
Yeah.
the tide goes out. So we go from a strong year to a pandemic that shifted our history forever to a complete blowout trying to repair the damage done with all the free money. So now the money is the most expensive money we've seen in 2 decades with the lowest amount of volume in
Sold.
as many decades since 2001. And we're going into a year now where they just brought 1 million immigrants to this country in 2023 in a market that saw the absolute least amount of housing starts in 2 decades. So we already have a shortage of supply
Yeah.
for economic reasons. Like, let's not act like we fixed housing supply because people can't buy real estate at 7%.
No.
So the housing shortage is very real. Rents have skyrocketed. People can't breathe because they can't afford to live. Because 1-bedroom apartment's $2,700.
In Toronto, wow.
Easy there, Manhattan.
Wow.
Like, how and why is that the case?
That's crazy.
I understand we're becoming a global city, but we're not New York.
No.
We are not Shanghai. So comparing Toronto to Shanghai for me is it's funny, it's cute. Like I love Toronto, that's my market. And I think we are becoming an actual metropolitan, real global city.
Yeah.
But a baby one. Like we're cute.
Yeah, you're an infant stage.
Like we have enough Michelin star restaurants now. We have a hockey team. Like we have a few good things that are required to be on a global stage. But don't say you're Paris. You are not Rome. Come on.
No.
Come on. So to have rents the way they are is simply because there's not enough.
That's right.
People need to live in Toronto because it's the economic engine of the country, period. No offense to Vancouver, Montreal, or any other city.
Yeah.
But within 100 kilometers of Pearson Airport, 30-40% of government taxes from business are generated there.
Yeah.
So logistics,
It's
transportation, it's the hub. So people need to be in the GTA. So out of 1 million people that you just brought in, half of them are going to go to the GTA.
Absolutely, they are.
So where the hell are they going to live?
They don't have anywhere.
They don't have anywhere. So rents keep getting poured up. The minute rates come down, they're going to start buying, which is happening this second. So we've seen just now the bond yields come down. With that, the government has not made an announcement on rate cuts.
But the rates have to.
They have come down.
Yeah.
So you can get a 5-year fix now at 4.79, 4.89, 4.99.
Which is huge compared to over 6.
Which is why you're seeing the return of action.
Yeah.
So that's called pent-up buyer demand. So the minute there's a couple of announcements, which are imminent now, because they have to, you're going to see a flood of sheep going to slaughter. Not clients returning and buying homes.
No.
Sheep to slaughter because the agents that are going to service them are not going to ask questions to qualify them properly. They are so hungry and waiting, and this is the problem.
Oh, I know.
This is the problem. So where is the qualification of the client to make sure you guide them if they have to wait 3 more months? I know you need the transaction. I do too.
That's the problem, though, that we saw in 2022 in January when the inflated prices started to rise the first week back from the holidays, is agents also were not qualifying their clients when the rates were 2% and the prices were going up.
But do 30,000 of the 100,000 agents know how to qualify a client?
They don't know how to qualify them, and that's the problem. Because it's becoming it's what, like you said, when we work commission based. So when we sell, we feed our families. But what you said at the beginning of this podcast is you had to turn your clients around and say, now is not the time. So you put your client above yourself. And I don't believe a lot of agents will do that.
I know as a fact that a lot of agents won't.
No.
But I also know as a fact, and this is what gives me hope, I know many do.
Good agents.
Great agents.
Yes.
And a great agent will always put their client first, not because they're dumb or don't need the money. It's exactly the opposite, is because they know that by saving that one client and making a difference in their lives, there's going to be 10 more waiting to come and seek your advice.
That's right.
And that is worth it. Not hurting someone, helping them, and actually making a difference. This year, inherently, just by economic circumstances, there's going to be, in my opinion, at least 25% more transactions.
From last year.
From last year. So let's say we did 60,000, 2 times 6 is 12. I think we're going to be probably just under 80. 80,000 for TREB, for Toronto Real Estate Board.
For Toronto Real Estate Board.
If it goes higher, all the blessings in the world. But I think just by the fact that there's going to be some easing on the economy and into rates, we're going to see a 25% boost just by doing so.
And the need for homes.
And the need for homes has never been higher.
Yeah.
So when we did our business planning, when I was speaking to you earlier, we put into our number of, call it X, just so we're not talking nonsense. Our number is X. This many transactions, this much GCI, commissions. The number is made up of this, and so we break it down. Now we reverse engineer. Where is it going to come from?
Yeah.
All the way down to how many appointments we need, to how many calls we need to make.
Yeah.
All the things. Like,
it's a business plan.
The same plan that you've been taught at every single brokerage in this country from 1980 to today is the same business plan we use today. End of story. Reverse engineer the number. Let's
How
call it.
do you get there?
Let's call it. My goal might be $3 million in GCI this year. Me personally, myself and Jazz, we want to do $3 million. How many transactions is that? We'll divide that number by
Average sale.
17,000, which is the average commission. Number is X. Okay? Well, how do we get this many transactions? We need 4X appointments. To get 4X appointments, how many calls do we need? It's there.
It's action-oriented.
It's there, and it's so simple. So it's literally the simplest business plan of all time. It's just taking your experience, how many calls you need to make to close this many appointments. If you're an amazing closer, you need this many appointments to close this much listings. This much listings, how much
But you're
are they selling?
tracking this.
Oh.
I think that's the difference that most agents don't do is you're actually holding yourself accountable to what you need to do every single day. And if you don't hold yourself accountable, you know that you're not going to reach that. Whereas I see most agents know what they want to make, but they don't make an actual tangible action plan that they have to follow every single day because then they have to hold themselves accountable. And that's where people go wrong.
So I started a training for my agents, for my team.
Can't you buy the Brokers Playbook as well?
It evolved into that.
Yes.
But that's how all these things were born.
Yes.
So Brokers Playbook training is a direct result of me creating a full-blown 12-week big program for my agents because I have enough agents to do that.
Yeah.
And because I was sick and tired of trusting what they know, oh no, I can do this, that, and the other, but it turns out you can't.
Yeah.
And you lied. And I don't know why, because like you're supposed to be an extension of me on my team.
Yeah.
Like there's no way I wouldn't find out. But this is people and what people do. And instead of trusting or having to trust, I said, for you to be on this team, you have to complete this training. You don't like it, you don't have to be here.
No, exactly.
So by the time you get through this training, you're going to understand that you wake up at 7 a.m. and at 7 a.m. the tracker starts. And the tracker is tracking the next 12 hours. I don't care what you do. Go sleeping, go swimming, go golfing. But you're going to know what happened from 7 to 7 every day. And guess who else is going to know what happened from 7 to 7 every day? This guy.
Yeah.
Because when you tell me you want to do 250 this year, which is a very reasonable goal in the GTA,
Yeah.
commissions are $20K a pop. It's 12 deals. A deal a month.
One deal.
One deal a month.
That's it.
But if people did 12 deals, you'd be like, whoa, you did 12 deals. It's a deal every 30 days. As if.
I'd be bored.
My God. So, I don't want to speak from a position of arrogance or anything, but never in my career, not year one, was that the case.
No.
So, if you're okay with 12, by all means, do live your life. I personally am not. And that's my own prerogative. But if you, like, I can guarantee you how to do 24 deals a year. You have to be able to do a deal every couple weeks.
Yes, that
Like,
shows that you're working
but
consistently.
what happens? Like, it's Monday morning, and for me, I just don't understand. Like, it's 8 o'clock. You drop off your kids at school. It's 8:30. Now what?
Work.
Easy for me to say that.
Yeah.
Because that's what I do. But my question to the people is, if you're doing 4 deals a year, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, what is it that it's going to take for you to understand that at 8 o'clock you need to start organizing? Forget making calls. It's too early. I get that excuse. I don't get that excuse. I'll call you at 7:30. No problem.
And I'll pick up because I've been
No
up
doubt.
since 4:30.
Let's go. So, however, but let's say that that's an excuse for people. It's too early. What do I say? Well, we can talk about the Ford script with it, which is everything we've already talked about: family, occupation, recreation, and dreams.
Yeah.
That's not. If I were to call this lovely cameraman right in front of us, I could have a 2-hour conversation with him, and I've just met him. Because I'm going to ask him about his family. He has none. Great. What about his occupation? He doesn't have a job? Great. What about recreation? What do you do for fun? You do something. He does nothing. Great. What about your dreams? If all else fails, there's always something to connect with someone about.
Of course there is.
In the Ford script, which is a 200-year-old script, since the beginning of time, not revolutionary.
No.
Ford, family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Remember those 4 things. You can talk for days.
It's
and
true.
days and days and days. And connect meaningfully. You spoke about your family, your job, what you like to do, and lastly, what you want to be. If you can't connect and resonate, then get out of the business.
Absolutely, because it's a people
That's
business.
okay too.
More deals for
Go
us.
bury yourself in a basement and hide. I don't know. Like,
It's true.
so the point, again, these trainings track your, and it's not, I'm not saying my training, don't touch my training, is what I'm saying here.
Yeah.
I don't want that to be the point of this. Any training, any company will tell you what you track is how you win.
Of course
you,
it is.
you cannot not track something and expect to win. So tracking your time before noon, any salesperson that's on the street needs to have made 30 calls. If you haven't made 30 calls a day, do not expect to succeed. 30 calls a day is bare minimum.
Yeah.
Out of that, you're going to make 10 connections. That means that in 1 week, if you're working Monday to Friday, forget weekends, because you have life-work balance. You made 5 days, you made 150 calls, but you made 50 connections. 50, 10 people a day you connected with, 1 in 3.
Yeah.
Cut it in half. Cut that in half too. 5 people a day, 25 connections. 25 connections are not going to turn into 3 or 4 appointments. It should be double that. But I'm cutting everything in half again and again and again.
Yeah.
To try to make this as
Basic
easy
as possible.
as basic as possible. 3 or 4 meetings, you're not going to close one into a listing appointment or a buyer appointment.
Yeah.
If it's 1, that's 4 a month. That's 4 a month.
That's 48 deals a year.
All we ever want. Cut it in half.
It's 24.
It's 24. So when I say I can guarantee my teammates can do 2 deals a month is because I can break this down to the dumbest number possible. The only thing that's not negotiable is the 30 calls, and that's where the problem lies.
And that's where it fails.
And that's where it fails, because the only thing they had to do is work. That before noon, we talked about it. You promised me, you looked me in the eyes, and you said before noon, every single day, I'm going to make 30 calls. But you didn't. And now we're sitting here, it's November, we're doing business planning, and you've done 3 deals this year, 6 deals this year. How do you want me to help you? I already helped you, and you didn't do it.
That's right.
You want me to pick up the phone for you?
Sometimes they do.
No, every time they do. It's like we provide leads to our agents. A lot of people think that's deals.
It's not.
No. Somebody inquired about real estate. We were the fortunate company that they chose to inquire. You have to call them and provide them value now.
Repeatedly.
Consistently. And we know as a fact that only on the 7th or 9th time you talk to them is when they're going to convert. So you calling them twice this week and never again? You are no good to me.
No. Or the client.
You cannot be here. We don't breathe the same air.
Yeah.
That client needs to be called 9 times. Why? Because they're scared. That's why. Because they don't trust you. They don't know you from a hole in the wall.
Yeah.
Who are you? That you're so entitled that you think you're going to close somebody on 2 calls.
No. It's the instant validation, and we know that. Everyone wants everything for the least amount. And unfortunately, that's just not how this business works.
Unfortunately not. So again, let's go to advice for 2024. Get to work. You're going to be rewarded more than you ever thought possible. This is going to be a great year. Even for a slower one, it's going to be the return to confidence. Consumer sentiment is coming back quickly, and it's a positive and optimistic outlook, and that's all we can ask for.
But you need to do the work.
1,000,000,000,000%.
Brokers Playbook. So I actually became an even bigger fan after being on it because you were sharing with me, which I really appreciated, some of the training tools that you have for other agents. And I want to just quickly touch on this before we wrap up, because I think that if people started to look toward agents who've not just talk the talk, but walk the walk, you have some really great information there on systems.
We do. We do. So again, only because I don't advocate for a paid program on a podcast ever, even though it's mine. What I can tell you is Brokers Playbook podcast community. If you are somebody who is looking to improve your skill set and actually do the work, You don't need any training. You can just go watch the podcast. You will see legend after legend on the show, dropping the exact recipe of what you need to do in every way possible. Kaylee Heaps will tell you how she did
Yes.
it. You'll tell somebody how you did it. I tell somebody how I did it. You don't need a training for anything. The training, the actual training programs,
The manual, yeah.
the manual, those, if you want to do that, that's an investment. Those are investments, and forget my company or any company. Unless you plan on committing to doing the work as it is taught, don't waste a dollar. If you come on my program, the first hour of me speaking on Zoom is ripping you apart on why you should back out and get your money back now. Because it is factually what I do.
Yeah.
I don't want somebody to complain, write a bad review. I won't have it. I will expose you.
Yes.
So unless you are there to do what you're told, because I guarantee the success.
Yeah.
And so does every other trainer, by the way.
Yes.
Because if you're going to train somebody, you're not telling them something they shouldn't do. You're telling them exactly what they need to do to succeed.
But they have to do it all.
So my style is a little bit rough, meaning that I've been around long enough. I've heard enough excuses where I don't care. All the rest of my team are very empathetic. They're very kind people. I am not. So if you're going to ask me for advice, I will tell you exactly what I feel. If you're asking me for my advice, say, please tell me what's wrong with my business. 9.5 out of 10, I'm going to say it's you.
Yeah.
You don't want to hear that, don't ask me.
But that's not being kind.
I'm just saying, but I say it exactly in that way. And it's not a judgment. If you don't want to hear it, don't ask me.
Yeah.
Ask me what I can fix. I'll tell you to make phone calls. But if you ask me what is wrong with my business, I will tell you that it's you. You are the problem.
Yeah.
You are a liar to yourself. You are a cheater to your process and systems. Like, you not making phone calls this morning is not cheating me.
No, it's cheating yourself.
It's cheating you. Because I'm going to make my calls. I'm going to probably take your client too. So
I you know what? People, you just said it, you know, I'm not kind. You are kind though, because kindness is actually giving truth. And people are afraid of the truth because they feel hurt and then they feel offended. And maybe we need to start getting over that in 2024.
And I'm not the guy to fight it. I have become more sensitive because I've been asked to become more sensitive. And be it as it may, but at the end of the day, I hope what comes out of this podcast specifically is it's still January. You still have time to fix what's wrong in the mirror. And that is, you need the confidence. So stop making excuses. You know what to do because you just heard what to do.
Yes.
You don't need my training.
No.
You've
Well,
heard.
you do. I like your training.
God bless the training.
I like
God
your
bless the training.
I like your training.
But what I'm saying is, for anybody who wants to go see the training, check out brokersplaybook.com/training.
Yes,
or
yes.
whatever our slash is. I don't know what it is.
And,
but I'm telling you, Kate, 9 out of 10 success stories this year are not going to be made out of the training. The training is there. The systems are there. You want to do it. You want to take your business seriously. I can guarantee you 24 deals in a year. But for those who want to do 10 and not go for training, just listen to what we just said, because my training is a huge process in outward detail of making 30 calls in a day. Track your day from 7 to 7 every single day and be honest to yourself. Stop lying to yourself. Not me, not anyone, you.
You got it.
So you will do more deals than ever thought possible.
I agree with you. I actually have the exact same outlook in terms of what we did last year was to set up for this year. The market is not blick anymore. I think we're going to start to see hope, and we can already feel it the first 2 weeks back.
It's here.
And I think that if you put the work in regardless, you can overcome any market. I really do. You may not have your best year, but you'll be at the top of agents in that year, just like we were last year.
I have a question for you on your podcast.
Yeah, sure.
What is your main reason? Let me put it this way. What fulfills you out of our business?
People.
In what way? What fulfills you? What makes you whole?
I love helping others in the fact that I have helped them make life-changing decisions, whether that be buying their first home, selling at difficult times, and being there for them during that time, whether it's creating generational wealth and seeing the fruits of that in their families.
And knowing that you had something to do with it.
Knowing that I had something to do with it. And you know what? I'm a big empath. I feel through emotions with people. I take it on and I'm okay with that. I've got, they don't look strong, but they're strong shoulders. When people are at their lowest, I like to be there to help them bring out of that and see that there is light. That is why I love relationships. That is why I love my people. That is why I love my team. And that is why I created this podcast, was because I saw something that, I mean, I didn't have to do this. This is taking, you know this, it takes up your time. It's an investment. We're not gaining anything other than genuine connection and relationship. But that to me was more important. And I have sat down and listened to some of the most brilliant minds in this business. And I've honestly can say that I have taken so much from it. And that is why I've done this.
100% I agree. So the reason I asked that, because this is actually your podcast, and I wanted to put that at the forefront, is you said you're a big empath, and fortunately or unfortunately, so am I. And the reason I just got off this hard stance, that I was talking about, that, you know, I need to be more sensitive to this stuff, is because people have made me hard in the shell on the outside.
I get that. I was there.
Because I've been lied to, I've been used, I've been abused for my kindness and my willingness to help. But every single day, my driver, my fulfillment comes from people's results.
Yeah.
Not my own results. My results are always great if theirs is great.
Yeah.
So if I did my job, mine are always great. So that fulfillment, though, has nothing to do with this fulfillment. Like here, like after you're good, you're good.
Yeah.
But like seeing other people achieve good, there's nothing more satisfying in the world.
Nope.
To know, like, thank God they listened, or thank God they did it. They took action and they did the thing. And it's the exact same for agents. Meaning when you see an agent, or when you get a DM saying that I saw your podcast last year with this person, I implemented that and I'll never look back. That gives you a sense of satisfaction that nothing else can.
I agree.
Because you impacted a stranger's life.
Yes.
My hope for you, the Vault podcast, the Kate Broddick podcast, all of this, is that people really take some of this advice, because this year, we're in the beginning of it. It's January. People make promises to themselves.
Yeah.
Stay true to your promises.
Where can people find you? If they want to,
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
No, I'm S Papailias across all socials. I believe SPAPA. I should pop up.
Yeah, and then also Brokers Playbook. I do encourage people to go there.
Yeah, so I'll give you a quick 2 seconds on Brokers Playbook. Brokers Playbook is up to a lot right now. I got government approval for the actual training to be part of grants programs.
Oh, I love it.
So we're looking at enterprise applications of it across brokerages, etc.
Amazing.
So that's where that's going. That's why I said, like, anybody wants to check into the program. It's big. It's real. It has workbooks. And, like, it's not like just a video series of me like making a couple of things. Like, it's very substantial. So if anybody wants to take a look at it, connect with the team. But Brokers Playbook podcast specifically is changing. And maybe that's the announcement that I'll make today. So that's going to be more than likely discontinued.
Oh, my heart.
Only because we did a deal with Bell Media and Chorus, and we're going to be live on radio in AM 640 in Toronto. Hamilton, I can't remember the AM frequency, in London. So Toronto, Hamilton, and London, live to air. And then all of it's going to be pod and VOD via social and YouTube and X. So it's going to be...
It's a rebirth, though. It's not over. It's changing.
So it's changing. It's going to be bigger from a sense that it's not just me. I'm going to have 2 co-hosts permanently with permanent and new correspondents across the nation.
Can't wait to see.
Well, I can't wait for you to be on, because you'll be one of our correspondents. How about that?
I love that.
I promise you that you are going to be the Brantford Beat.
Oh, I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm so proud of you. I really am. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of the person that you are. I'm proud of what you demonstrate to other agents. more so proud of what you demonstrate in the real estate community and the community itself. And I just want to say I'm truly grateful that you made the big drive to Norfolk today.
God bless you. Love being here.
Well, thank you so much for everyone watching. Make sure to rate and review on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. And stay tuned for our next guest next month. Thank you so much, Simeon.
See you soon.
Yes.